When we look out at the landscape of modern love and dating, we often assume that everyone who is single is in the same boat. We imagine a collective waiting room where everyone is tapping their foot, checking their watch, and desperate for their number to be called. But if we look closer, we see that this is not the case at all. In reality, there are two very different kinds of single people out in the world. For the sake of clarity, let us call them the cheerfully single on the one hand and the catastrophically single on the other. Let us look first at the cheerfully single person. Imagine a woman or a man who might have last been in a relationship 5 years ago, or perhaps it was 6 or 7 years ago. The specific number does not haunt them. They are not really counting at this stage because the tally does not feel like a sentence. They hope, in a gentle, abstract way, that they might find someone one day. They are open to love. And this is the crucial difference. If they do not find someone, they know deep in their bones that they could tolerate their own company, possibly, until the very end of their days. This person has built a life that is full, not of busyness, but of richness. They have got good, solid friends who they laugh with and cry with. They go traveling to places that spark their curiosity. They pursue their hobbies with passion, whether that is pottery, coding, or hiking. Picture them in the evening. They come home to a quiet house. They do not dread the silence. Instead, they make themselves a nourishing dinner for one, perhaps a beautifully roasted chicken or a complex risotto, not because they are performing for anyone, but because they believe they are worth the effort. They sit on their own in the living room, perhaps with a glass of wine or a cup of herbal tea, absorbed in an article about the social structure of ants, or watching a thoughtful, subtitles-heavy film from Iran. They are content. Now, they are not monks. They are keeping half an eye out for a partner. They are on an app or two, scrolling occasionally with a sense of mild curiosity. But sometimes, a whole week goes by without them checking their messages. They forget to update their profile. And when they do assess candidates, they are pretty discerning. They look at a profile and think, is this person kind? Are they on my wavelength? They know that most people are not going to be right for them. They are only going to allow someone into their lives if they are utterly convinced that this person adds value. The potential partner has got to be very attractive to them, not just physically, but emotionally and intellectually. There is just no point if they are not. Most people will not fit the bill, and the cheerfully single person thinks that is fine. It is just the way of the world. It is a statistical reality, not a personal tragedy. Now, I want you to contrast this image with the second type, the catastrophically single. This is a very different energy. This person has been in a state of low-level mania or high-level panic ever since they got out of their last relationship. It might have been on February the 10th at 9:30 in the evening, or whatever date is engraved on their battered hearts. They remember the exact moment the silence descended, and they have been running from it ever since. For the catastrophically single person, age is a ticking time bomb. However old they happen to be, whether they are 25 or 42, it is always about to be far too late. They live in a state of perpetual urgency. They feel they are on the verge of hitting 30 or 56 or 74, and then the final whistle will blow. It will all be over. They believe they will be relegated to the lower circle of hell reserved for the lepers of solitude, the unwanted, the unchosen. In their desperation, they put themselves on every available app. They do not just have one, they have 4. They check them every hour. In fact, they check them every minute. The blue light of the screen is the last thing they see at night and the first thing they see in the morning. They swipe with a frantic energy, looking for a lifeline. They set up date after date, cramming 2 or 3 coffee meetups into a single Saturday if they can make it work. They are exhausting themselves. Crucially, they are not paying attention so much to quality. They are looking for a warm body to fill the void. A friend could look at their date's profile and quickly tell them that this candidate is obviously wrong, that they are emotionally unavailable, or rude, or simply incompatible. But the catastrophically single person cannot see it, or chooses to ignore it. The key thing for them is to stay busy all the time. The goal is not connection. The goal is the cessation of silence. The goal is to escape the terrifying reality of being alone with themselves. So, we have to ask the big question. What could explain such radical differences? Why are some members of the species able to cook a calm dinner for one and feel at peace, while others feel like the sky is falling? Why is one person enjoying the film from Iran, while the other is staring at a phone screen in terror? The difference has nothing to do with how attractive they are, or how successful they are, or how many dates they go on. The difference has everything to do with what singlehood means in the eyes of each category. It is about the story they tell themselves about their solitude. For the cheerfully single person, being single means nothing more or less than a logistical fact. The right person has not shown up yet, and they may never. That is it. It is a neutral circumstance. Crucially, their relationship status does not say anything whatsoever about them as a human being. It does not indicate that they are awful. It does not mean they are corrupt or ugly or stupid or weak or mean. It does not affect their fundamental right to exist, their dignity, and their basic goodness. They can separate their worth from their relationship status. They know they are whole, with or without a partner. It just means, plain and simple, that the right person is not there at the moment. Whereas for the catastrophically single person, aloneness is not just a circumstance. It is a verdict. It is fraught with the most appalling associations. Every Friday night spent alone is a confirmation of their deepest fears. It is a reminder of what they deeply know and fear, and are in constant flight from the belief that they are dreadful people. In the quiet of their own minds, they suspect that there is something venal and disgusting about them. They believe that no one wants them because they are fundamentally unwanted. They fear that there is a hideous truth lurking inside them that others can smell. They imagine that everyone else, the couples walking hand in hand, the families in the park, is either laughing at them or pitying them. From these two very different views of themselves, two enormous consequences follow. The cheerfully single will be just that, cheerful and at peace. They will move through the world with a light step. They will attract people not out of need, but out of joy. The catastrophically single, however, will be tormented every hour. They will vibrate with anxiety. In extremis, after too many bad dates and aborted relationships, they will feel a darkness so deep it scares them. They might even feel that life is not worth living, because being alone and unchosen confirms that they do not have the right to be. They feel that their existence is only validated by the gaze of another. Without that gaze, they feel they disappear. This is a heavy realization, but we must go deeper. What on earth could explain these two ways of seeing matters? Why does one person have an inner citadel of strength while the other has a crumbling shack? As is so often the case in psychology, the answer lies in the past. It is childhood. The way we perceive ourselves now, in the privacy of our adult apartments, is a direct legacy of how we were perceived in the early years by other people. How we assess ourselves as single people is a bellwether of our emotional wherewithal, which was constructed long ago. Some of us, the ones who feel we simply need to be in a relationship right now to survive, were, tragically, severely neglected as children. Perhaps we were overlooked for a sibling who was brighter or sicker or louder. Perhaps we had parents who were too wrapped up in their own dramas to notice us. We were made to feel that we were never quite good enough. We had to earn love. We had to perform for attention. And because we were children, we internalized this neglect. We decided that if we were not being watched and held, we did not exist. We now hate our own shadows because our shadow was the only company we had in a cold, emotional climate. We look for a partner to finally give us the permission to exist that our parents never fully granted, whereas the other kind, the cheerfully single, have usually been given a lifetime of protection. This does not mean their lives were perfect or they were spoiled. It means they were seen. They appealed very much to the people who put them on the earth. They were looked at with delight. They were told through words and actions, "You are here," and that is a wonderful thing. Because they internalized this love, they carry a parent inside themselves. They can soothe themselves. They can reassure themselves. So now, as adults, it does not matter if they do not have a partner right this second. They know they are valuable. If they have been on their own for a decade and are eating dinner by themselves again tonight. They do not spiral into shame. They think, well, that is someone else's loss. They think, I am good company. They are gorgeous, and they sort of know it without arrogance, without pride, but with a quiet, sturdy confidence. This is privilege. This is true emotional luxury. It is more valuable than a trust fund or a fancy car. This is what we should all want for ourselves. One of the greatest indications of good parenting is that your child will never feel ashamed not to be in a relationship. They will know that their worth is intrinsic, not extrinsic. But here is the good news for those of you feeling a tightness in your chest right now. If you identify with the catastrophically single description, you are not doomed. You are not broken beyond repair. You are simply operating on an old map. You are a child looking for a parent in the form of a lover. You are trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. The path to becoming cheerfully single, or at least calmly single, starts with recognizing that the panic is not about the lack of a partner. It is about the lack of self-compassion. The work is not to swipe harder. The work is to learn how to parent yourself. It is to learn how to sit in that living room with the silence and speak to yourself with the kindness that you wish a partner would offer. It involves rewriting the script. When the thought comes, I am alone because I am unlovable, you must catch it. You must gently correct it. I am alone because I have not met the right person yet, and I am choosing not to settle. I am alone, and I am safe. Start small. Treat yourself like the partner you are waiting for. Cook that risotto for yourself. Buy the good wine. Put fresh sheets on the bed for you. Take yourself to the movies. Do these things not to distract yourself from the wait, but to practice the art of valuing your own company. Prove to your inner child that they are worth taking care of, even when no one else is watching. The more you can tolerate and eventually enjoy your own company, the less desperate you will become. And paradoxically, the less desperate you are, the more likely you are to attract the kind of healthy, stable love that the cheerfully single person often finds. Because you will no longer be looking for a savior. You will be looking for an equal. You will not be looking for someone to convince you that you exist. You will be looking for someone to share the wonderful existence you have already built. So tonight, if you find yourself alone, do not despair. Do not pick up the phone to swipe through the faces of strangers. Instead, look around your room. Look at your hands. Feel your breath. You are here. You are whole. You are enough. The silence is not a judgment. It is just silence. Fills it with your own warmth. Thank you for spending this time with me on Happy Aura. I hope this perspective helps you find a little more peace in your journey, whatever your relationship status may be. Remember, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Make it a loving one. Until next time, take care of your heart. It is precious.